Welcome to Sixways in Worcester for tonight's Clash of the Warriors. Both sides field an exciting mix of youth and experience, and with new recruits also on show, it's sure to be an entertaining evening's rugby. Glasgow come into tonight's match following a narrow defeat to Newcastle Falcons last weekend, while Worcester were high-scoring winners in a match against Connacht. Now, just a short time ago, I caught up with both head coaches, and first of all, I spoke to Jonathan Thomas.
Jonathan, thank you very much for the warm welcome here to Sixways, and you're certainly in good spirits this evening, and understandably so, given a fine performance against Connacht last week, and this match tonight really does whet the appetite.
Yeah, absolutely, really excited. I know both clubs have been trying to put on the Clash of the Warriors for quite a while, and it's finally happened, so really excited. One, because it's our last pre-season game, and obviously, like all teams, we're excited to sign off pre-season in style and look forward to what's coming next. But I think it's an exciting clash from both teams. Glasgow, obviously a quality team over the last sort of decade, I guess, and we've got an exciting young squad that we've a lot of new combinations that we've recruited in pre-season. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Reading your programme notes, one thing that did strike me was the fact you point out, that there's a double-edged sword to a game like this tonight. When you're looking to perhaps change almost your entire team at half-time, it maybe does impact on the rhythm and fluency of the game, but you still need to give the guys an opportunity to have a run out.
I think we can't lose sight of the purpose of a pre-season game, and essentially it's about the players building capacity. All the players trying to build capacity and increase their load to enable them to be ready for season one games, the first game of the season. So now I suppose that the other side of it is you want confidence, you want to build confidence, and you essentially want to win. So I think as a coach, the challenge with the pre-season game is trying to combine all three of those things is sometimes challenging with the disruption sometimes the volume of changes can make in the second half. But we're really happy with the depth that we've got this year in terms of like our young players had quite a lot of exposure last year in the Prem, so we're pretty confident they can come on and express themselves and do themselves justice. And
some exciting players recruited as well over the last 6 months. You've been very busy as well, attracting players with a lot of experience and with a bit international flair to bring to the party.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we recognise at the Warriors it's time for change, and we want to change the narrative a little bit of this is a really proud club, always has been, and but we've got ambitions to be a top 6 team. Now that's always been the ambition of the club, but we want to make that happen, and to do that you have to get the right people in the room, and there was a lot of players that sort of moved on at the end of last season and staff, so there's very much a new feel to the squad and the club. I think there's definitely an element of our recruitment was around leadership. Guys like Willie Hines, Scott Baldwin, Owen Williams, obviously then Duan van der Merwe and Rory Sutherland, who you guys know well. So there's an element there of some X factor and some leadership that we've brought in, because we know we've got some good young players coming through. It's important that they've got good role models to look up to.
And perhaps tonight the start of a new rivalry with a bit of silverware up for grabs, and we know there's going to be a return fixture in about 12 months' time. Yeah,
absolutely. So it's something to look forward to. It's strange playing for silverware in a pre-season game. However, I think our supporters are really excited about this clash. Obviously, Donkey Ware coming back as well, and it isn't too often you get so much excitement around a pre-season game. But I think everyone's staff, players, coaches, and supporters are all looking forward to the game.
Thank you for your time and best of luck tonight.
Thanks.
Good man. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Danny, as always, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us before the game. An important run out for your troops tonight, as we're so close now to the start of a new league season.
Yeah, we've kind of two focus points really to build on the good stuff that we played against Newcastle and improve obviously some of the not so good, and also last chance for boys to put their hand up if they want to play against Ulster. Tonight's their opportunity to put their hand up to be picked to play against Ulster.
And I guess it's essential from your point of view to pick a large squad to give the players within the pool as much game time as possible, so you can really assess where they are individually and perhaps collectively.
Yeah, you kind of grade boys back in. There's some boys that grade back in from injury or for different reasons, and so they get a certain amount of game time. But like you said, there's also the ability in games like this to try and expose more players to this type of rugby so that we can have a really good look at them. And that includes some young academy boys. We blooded a few last year, and we probably need to blood a few more for the future, and these nights provide those opportunities.
And the academy players, the new faces, the new recruits, are I guess the players in particular that the supporters are looking to identify, just to see where they're at in terms of their skill set going into the season.
Yeah, and look, I think I've said it before that the patience kind of side of that is a really important part. If we look at Ross Thompson and you know the youngsters like Rory Darge and Tom Lambert and these types of guys, they have to learn from their experiences, and they obviously don't always hit the ground running. But if you look at some of those examples, Rufus, and they come through now and playing some really good rugby, and that will happen with the next crop as well. But it's a balancing act, trying to make sure you've got the right players out there to get the result as well.
Duncan Weir enjoyed a warm welcome from a small collection of Worcester supporters just a short time ago. I suppose if you look at this game in isolation, this could be the start of a nice little pre-season rivalry between the two sides.
Yeah, it's quite exciting, isn't it? You know, I think it's been tagged sort of the Battle of the Warriors, which should be interesting. And I think it's both play on a similar pitch, both want to play a certain brand of rugby, and it should make for an exciting game.
Good man, best of luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
The thoughts there of the respective head coaches as we now take a look at the starting lineup for the home team, and they've gone tonight with a centre partnership of Ollie Lawrence and Francois Venter. Venter 52 matches and 6 tries, as well as his 7 Springbok caps. Owen Williams and Willie Hines are the starting halfback partnership. Scott Baldwin, of course, who joined from Harlequins, is in that front row as the starting hooker. And of course a plethora of talent and choice, substantial on the bench for both sets of coaches this evening, as they will look, especially after the 50-minute mark, to really mix things up and bring some talent off the bench. The Glasgow Warriors side tonight, well, within their squad they include Duncan Weir, who of course spent 3 years down here at Sixways, a recent recruit once again as a Glasgow Warriors player. He is on the bench tonight, but the exciting Rufus McLean starts on the right wing with Cole Forbes on the left. Ross Thompson and George Horn are the starting halfback partnership, and Johnny Matthews starts in the front row alongside Tom Lambert and Simon Bergen, who had 6 seasons with Edinburgh and played 89 matches for the capital side. I'm delighted to say that alongside me this evening is Rory Jackson, and Rory, this certainly whets the appetite.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think it's a cracking evening here down at Worcester. It's an awesome pitch. So hopefully it'll be two teams that are wanting to experiment, try a few things out, and hopefully we're in for a really good game.
Well, the heavens opened around 5 o'clock as the Glasgow Warriors players we see heading onto the field of play. The heavens opened at 5 o'clock and we all got absolutely drenched, but since then it's brightened up somewhat. There's a few cotton wool clouds just directly above us, and we've got a fine view of the pitch as the home side are now introduced to the supporters, and many of them have waited a long time, of course, to return to pre-season rugby as well as competitive fixtures, which will come thick and fast starting in just a couple of weeks' time for both these sides. The man in the middle, incidentally, is Adam Leal, our match referee, with Neil Chivers and Paul Dix, his 2 assistants this evening. Glasgow will get this match underway. And Rory, just a quick word from you. You've been in this situation many times before as a player, the final pre-season match before you get underway. What is you looking for as an individual?
Yeah, it's sort of last chance to sort of stake your claim for that first game, and obviously normally it's a real good chance for young guys to come and show what they're about. This year is probably a little bit different, with a few more internationals on show without the summer tests getting called off, so it's going to be a lot of changes at half time, so it's who can sort of really stake their claim and get that fluency within the whole squad.
And that was a good kick-off there from Thompson, and an early illustration. We know Rufus McLean likes to get underneath the high ball, and he was putting pressure on the Worcester defensive line. Hines, though, is able to loft one forward, height and some distance. 4 players back inside the Glasgow Warriors half of the field. Here's the very formidable Ryan Wilson, back of course in the Scotland ranks recently to win his 50th cap, and how he was delighted with that as well. The tackle coming in though from his opposite number there, Kyle Hatherall, and Glasgow looking to recycle just along their own 10-metre line just now. Prodded forward there from Thompson. Horn and Thompson will look to do damage early on. Nanai back, flat kick from the Worcester fullback, gathered there by Ross Thompson, and now some green playing for Stafford McDowell to run into. The collision just in front of him. Clear out provided there by Richie Gray. Still Glasgow looking to make some inroads inside this Worcester half. Wilson over the ball, delayed the pass ever so slightly on towards Lambert, making some ground. Worcester remain very disciplined. Wilson once again just running into Worcester traffic, picked up there by Horn, scrum half. On now towards Thompson, determination shown. You can see physically that he is certainly grown in stature as a player in the last 12 months. And it's back now with Horn, lined up the box kick, but that was a cute pass out to Cole Forbes now, back in field towards Horn. Horn now has it, it's taken on there by Matthews. Matthews is a powerful runner and has got a decent turn of pace for a hooker, but running into the defensive line, knocking the ball forward in high time. We've got the early thoughts of Rory Jackson.
Yeah, interesting from Glasgow. They're using the short side a lot. Even when Worcester look to seem to have it covered, they've been coming down here, and a really nice ball by George. He sort of dummied open there and hit a lovely flat ball to Cole Forbes with a good line break. It was a shame they spilt it there, but some good ball retention. It looked a bit scrappy at times, but it's evident here that Glasgow seem to be wanting to attack with the ball, which is great to see.
And after the journey down from Scotstoun and some time in the hotel, they'll be happy to at least be on the front foot in the opening 2 minutes of this contest.
Yeah, definitely. See what Worcester do here. Lots of space with the new 50-22 rule in. I know this is a bit deeper, but it's one of the rules that I'm actually quite like that's come in. It puts a lot more pressure on the defence, and it'll be interesting to see how teams look to utilise it.
Wally Hines then is able to loft it from the back of the scrum there, and that was protecting touch very nicely. Fullback Stafford McDowell coming across. Glasgow again looking to gain some territory up towards their own 10-metre line. Horn with a quick pass out towards Wilson. Matthews again back in field, taken on by Cole Forbes. All Warriors possession at the moment. Back it comes again to the tight head top, Simon Bergen. So used to seeing him in Edinburgh colours, but made the journey along the M8 to join Glasgow. Horn again, just see the right foot goes in to control the ball as he delivers the box kick, which will carry that 10-metre line. Underneath it and taken nicely there by the Worcester Warriors fullback. Back he gets it again. Nanai made his debut 2 years ago. 17 matches and 3 tries, and Worcester knocking the ball forward just on their own 10-metre line, just still looking to settle in, bed into the game. The surface, I'd imagine, will be a little greasy just as a consequence of that rain that did fall within 2 hours before kick-off. But it'll be another platform for Glasgow to build here, really.
Yeah, Nanai looked a little bit dangerous there on the counter, so when Glasgow do look to kick, they need to make sure that the chase is good and they need to get that first contact and get them down. As I say, first few phases were really good from Glasgow, so it's interesting to see them stop and set up that kick. It's probably the slightly more pragmatic sort of style that Danny has looked to instill on the team. In the past, I reckon we would have looked to probably just keep the ball in hand and really put the pressure on Worcester that way, but so it'll be interesting to see how that evolves through the game.
Appealing in the Newcastle Falcons game that perhaps 1 or 2 missed opportunities that they'll look to try and address and be a bit more clinical when the chances come along tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a frustrating game for them last week. The better side, they probably made the more line breaks, but just didn't quite get that conversion rate. So they just need to be a bit more clinical, and I think with the talent on show, they should definitely be looking to be positive here, especially in positions like this.
On, of course, he's got that quite remarkable start of 33 tries and 66 appearances, and only 35 of those appearances are actual starts. He has it again from Wilson, comes back now towards Lambert. Lambert again just leaning in, you see, with that right shoulder. Got players in behind him, including Horn, Thompson. Looks like the pass inside there towards Sam Johnson. Horn again, some blind side for McDowell and co to work with. As Cole Forbes just ushers Warriors players
Worcester that is, into touch along with Stafford McDowell. So we'll have a Worcester Warriors throw in, and it is a night where a towel is required before you launch your throw in. You've Scott Baldwin, as we mentioned, part of the front row, along with Ethan Waller and Christian Judge. Ethan Waller, just born relatively close by in Kettering, moved from Northampton now 4 years ago. Throw into the back of the line, palms and fingers on the back of that one. And it's crunching challenge coming in there on Kyle Hatherall. The Worcester Warriors number 8, Nick Haney, taking the ball into contact and immediately was surrounded by Glasgow players just to try and prevent him from releasing the ball.
Yeah, great turnover from Rory Darge. I'm really excited to see how he goes this year. He burst onto the scene last year after being snapped up across the M8, and I think he's delighted with his decision to come west, because he's been outstanding. I think he's a real talent. We've always seemed to produce good back rows in Scotland, and he's another one that seems to have been churned out the woodwork. So it's a great start from him.
Ross Thompson, of course, the figures we give you tonight in terms of appearances and points are from competitive games, but he's 14 matches, 103 points, and look to add to that tally, albeit in this friendly game. But there is silverware up for grabs tonight in the Clash of the Warriors Cup. I think they're still to settle on a name for the trophy, but it'll go under that, guys, for this evening at least. As Thompson then, here he goes, first opportunity at the posts, no problems at all, sweet and true, and Ross Thompson has this game off and running with points coming in the opening 7 minutes with a well executed penalty goal. Yeah,
I think it's good to come away with points. I know it's a pre-season game and you want to try things out, but winning is the most important thing when you're running into a season, and with the dominance Glasgow have shown in these first 5-10 minutes, I think it's just about right to get that scoreboard ticking over.
Owen Williams with the restart, now 29, as he's hoisted that just into the edge there of the 22, and Scotty Cummings, well, he tried to follow the flight of the ball there, but it just ricocheted off the hands and the chest, and knocking forward, glanced to the heavens there. A mistake from Cummings at the kick-off, and this presents Worcester Warriors now with a very good attacking platform inside the Glasgow 22, and we're just shy of 8.5 minutes on the clock.
Just sort of exactly what you don't want to do after you just score, give up cheap possession. And it's interesting, last 2 weeks Danny's gone with a natural second row at blindside flanker. Kieran McDonald was there last week, and now Scott Cummings this week. So whether it's something he's really looking at throughout the season, that'll be interesting to look at. But Scott had a great season. Ollie Lawrence is another extremely dangerous player that we'll need to watch out for. Great run there.
It was cutting a fine line up to within 5-6 metres. Hines again just looking to measure the pass, long look pass out there from Williams out towards the left hand side, and in they come, Worcester Warriors. Hines in behind again, just delaying the pass. Warriors players, Glasgow that is, just surrounding the ball carrier. Ted Hill gets a touch, and it's out now towards the starting hooker Scott Baldwin. Baldwin wrestled to the ground inside that 22. Hines has it once more. Little chip kick just comes off the cheek there of Johnny Matthews, and that was an opportunity in a period of advantage there for Owen Williams to try and flight it over the head of Matthews, and a couple of players just in behind. So down receiving a little bit of treatment. But yeah, that's a good point you make, that we often see Scotty Cummings in the second row. He's been capped several times in the last couple of years as a second row forward, so he won't always find himself in a position as the player identified to gather the ball inside his own 22 from a restart.
No, exactly. I mean, he'll be kicking himself, he'll back himself to make that catch most of the time. So it's, but yeah, I mean, they're certainly not short of lineouts in this starting 8-pack. So as I say, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I think Worcester, they're showing some dangerous signs there as well. They've still got a few signings to come back as well, but they've got a really exciting team out, and I think this is a big year for them after sort of generally fighting in that sort of lower half of the table. They've made some good acquisitions this year, and they'll be hoping to make a real push into that top half of the season, up to the league and the Premiership.
Of course, we think of Duur van der Merwe and
Rory Sutherland as well, part of the ranks. They don't want to be forever a yo-yo team that will perhaps be fighting against relegation, dropping down the division and then coming back up again, as it can quite easily happen, to recruit both through the ranks of the youngsters, the young up and coming talented players, but also attracting experience that can come in and hit the ground running and really develop the young talent.
Yeah, exactly. So you look at some of the other signings, so Scott Baldwin there, Willie Hines, Owen Williams, they're all really seasoned campaigners who bring a wealth of knowledge, but also great players in their own right. So they're developing a really good core in that squad, good mix of youth and experience, and it'll be interesting to see how they go.
Well, a change has been made. It's as if Matt Kivitz is on the field of play, and the referee now signalling the game can restart as Owen Williams just prods the ball into touch, and this provides a 5-metre line out for Worcester Warriors. And the aforementioned Scott Baldwin, signed from Harlequins, with the throw, again very assured in the throw, and will join in the drive now, 5 metres from the Glasgow Warriors line. George Horn, you can see, just adjusting his defensive position, as Glasgow will want this Worcester maul to remain stationary, as again a fine line cut in by the replacement just on the path there, as Hines again looking to find deep lying runners. Hines goes in once again, this time it's just a little pop pass out there to Matt Garvey, and a clutch of clubs including London Irish in his time, but there's remain somewhat stationary, and Glasgow looking for the turnover opportunity, which they've managed to master, and this makes it a slightly easier exit now from the 22, as Thompson, left-footed, angles that down, and that bounces in touch just below our commentary position. And again, great work defensively from Glasgow on this occasion. Yeah,
Johnny Matthews really smart there, down on the ball quickly, saw it popped out, and then a really clean exit. That was a cracking kick from Ross with his left foot there. Not the biggest of angles, but he's managed to get that right down to the halfway.
Vizic again was critical in that move, cutting in a fine pacey drive from the replacement, and that certainly had Glasgow scurrying defensively. But Glasgow now in possession through Horn. Thompson again out towards Johnston, again just delaying the pass just ever so slightly as they're trying to make some ground up towards the halfway line. And this time Warriors conceding the penalty close towards halfway. The word exchanged by gets second row forward there. Lewis Bean was one of the last players up. Of course, he knows this area quite well, has been an ex-Worcester player himself.
Yeah, exactly, just sealing off there, which was unfortunate, but obviously we got this nice bird's eye view. If Sammy put that ball over the top, I think Rufus could have been in some clear space, but yeah, that's where this is quite a nice spot. We can see things a bit easier than down on the ground level. But it was a shame, 'cause it was a good turnover. As I said, we're not short of line-out options with Scotty, Richie and Lewis in there. So we should be up challenging Worcester's line-out a lot, and hopefully get some good turnover ball from there.
Justin Clegg moves into position, but it's over his head, and it's with Ted Hill. He does well to win the ball in the line. And again, it's man just on Vizic, making initial ground inside that 22, picked up again by Hines, trying to inject some pace in. Ethan Waller is caught inside that 22. Hines will direct it towards the left hand side this time. Richie Gray with a solid challenge, remains upright as there's 4 Worcester players out on that left hand side now, just trying to stretch the Glasgow defence. Glasgow leading by 3 points to 0, but this by far and away Worcester's best spell of attacking possession inside the Glasgow 22, but they've lost it just as I say that, and Thompson plods one along the ground, and Glasgow have got players chasing at a rate of knots. To Kalotu is certainly leading the charge there, but Nanai comes back, and Worcester Warriors and their full-back have got play back inside the Glasgow half of the field. Somewhat shanked forward a little bit there by Ollie Lawrence inside the 22, but it's certainly found touch, and Worcester is turning defence into attack very quickly. That was a somewhat laboured kick, but it certainly did the business.
Yeah, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He knows the run of the pitch, and judged it perfectly. Lucky for Glasgow, the ruck was just inside the half. Otherwise, I think that would have been one of these new 50-22s. So hopefully they get some good line out ball here and get a good exit with a more structured kick chase. So Worcester have been looking quite dangerous on the counter, so need to be really tight there and not give them too many opportunities on that.
Matthews then ready to deliver the throw into the line. Richie Gray winning possession in the line. Wilson now carries, still inside the 22. Box kick from Horn on the angle. Takes it out with the 22, between the 22 and the 10. Of the number of spectators inside that main stand watching on this evening. It's remains very calm overhead, and nice to have a game in shirt sleeves. We can commentate at least for the first half, Rory.
Yeah, exactly. Not having to wrap up, thankfully, which is nice to see how long that lasts for. After the mini heat wave this week, I'm fairly expecting it to turn into winter fairly soon.
Hines pointing the way forward for Worcester. Kind of flat pass, and Flizick taking it up towards the edge of the 22. Back it comes towards Williams. Again looking to bring Menai back into play there from that slightly deeper position, where he had some ground that he could run into, test the Warriors' defence. That's the Glasgow defence. And Glasgow to their feet. Worcester penalised there, much to the frustration of their full-back, and Johnny Matthews looks as if he needs a little bit of treatment.
I wonder if that's just a tactical little rest. No, a couple of great defensive sets from Glasgow. I think Worcester saw a bit of sustained pressure from them in this last 10 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes, and to come away with no points is a cracking result for Glasgow. So hopefully they can get a good kick here, or half decent kick here, and then get some ball again and put the pressure back on Worcester.
Thompson takes play up towards halfway. Matthews is back to his feet. And I certainly want to take this opportunity at start for Matthews. I mentioned he's played 12 competitive matches, just one start in those 12 games. Right on the halfway line, directly below us. Matthews then with a bypass Johnny Gray this time, and rather Richie Gray, and it was Wilson that won the ball in the line, taken on by Lewis Bean up towards halfway. Recycled. Matthews taking the ball on from his scrum half there. Johnston just losing possession, and it comes back now. Worcester coming through there was to Pelotu, but the referee had already signalled the infringement on halfway.
Yeah, as you say, that with that downpour at sort of 5 o'clock, I wonder if it is still a wee bit greasy out there, because there's been a fair few spilt balls. Could be a mixture of a bit of pre-season rust and a slippy ball, but it's a shame, because just after you sort of finally get the ball back after some good defensive displays, you start want to put some pressure on them by holding on to the ball, which just given Worcester another really good opportunity to build some sustained attack.
Scrummage with those in the Worcester second row just digging their studs into the halfway line. Just at the back of that. And it comes now Hines. Has a little look. It says the referee. What's it towards the left hand side again? The fullback Nanai coming in. Needs an offload there. Hines was up there, outstretched right hand, just couldn't take the ball in and controlled contact. But fullback and scrum half linking up almost perfectly there, because Hines coming in at a rate of knots. There seemed to be just a fraction of a gap inside the Warriors' defence that Hines may have been able to escape the attentions of the Glasgow defence had he gathered the ball in.
Yeah, cracking strike. We saw how flat Williams was off the base of the scrum, and then nice little inside ball to Nana, who's definitely looked their most dangerous player. Lucky for Glasgow that Hines couldn't quite gather it, but certainly early warnings that this Worcester 15 is probably their biggest threat.
A deeper line position for Glasgow as Johnny Matthews heads across, just spins the ball in his hands there, and again we'll look to feed the ball into this organised line. Won this time by Richie Gray. On in towards Johnston. Johnston was ripped backwards there, just short of the 22. Horn onto Matthews again. Matthews' determination up towards the 22. Horn, flat pass. Bean takes it into the 22. Glasgow looking for quick recycle ball. Here it comes. On there towards the two centres and out towards this left hand side. And Cole Forbes, he's caught inside the 22. They will recycle and trying to work it back infield.
getting closer towards that 5 metre line. Horn has it again, on this time towards Tom Lambert. He's almost devoured by the Worcester defensive cover. Who's been, again, who was involved earlier in this attacking charge. On now towards Richie Gray. In excess of 60 appearances now for Glasgow over 2 spells. Johnny Matthews again, not the first time we've seen him trying to attack this Worcester defensive line. 5 metres from the line. Remember, Glasgow leading by 3 points to 0. Rory Darge again just trying to show determination in a cutting drive. 5 metres from the line. Lambert adjusts his position, he's alongside Wilson. Wilson has it now. Lambert just in behind him. Penalty though has been awarded to Worcester. And Glasgow's efforts come to nothing, but some encouragement from a Glasgow point of view going forward. But perhaps was that a chance that they should have finished off?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're probably just guilty of slowing their own ball down a wee bit there. They had some really good momentum going in there. Been impressed with Tom Lambert. His ball carrying, I have no idea about scrums, but his ball carrying's been pretty solid at the start of this game. But they just got into that sort of bit of a habit of just slowing that ball down when they get close to the line, where if they can keep that tempo up and move this big Worcester pack about, then there's definitely some opportunities there. Try and find these mismatches in some of their popos in the back line.
And a throw in for Worcester. Another chance for Scott Baldwin. Nathan Waller just passing on the instructions. Goes again towards the back of the line. Secure hands once more, very quickly on. Worcester again, and number 8 tackled by Matthews. The referee immediately slows up play. That was a heavy coming together there. Kyle Hatherall and Johnny Matthews working the ball forward. Worcester, Glasgow put in at the scrum, latest set piece. And another platform for Glasgow to try and build this. They've now played over 16.5 minutes of the first half.
Good opportunity to practice a set piece move that they've been working on it pretty much every day in pre-season. So let's see if can execute a nice move, and it's always nice to score off a set piece. So hopefully they can pick something together here.
On Thompson just behind the scrum, but immediately the referee has infringed Glasgow. They have been penalised by the referee, and Adam Leal has awarded the penalty to Worcester.
Nothing more frustrating as a back. You get a chance to do what you've been practicing all week and then give away a penalty. But as I say, scrums are a lottery, and I certainly don't have a clue what's going on, so can't give you any insight on that one.
Yes, they've been learning over the years about some of the dark arts of the scrum. But I think it's something else if you were to play in the scrum itself. Hines then with the pass. Once again, number 8. Hatherall taking the ball up over that 10 metre line with Hines in behind him once again. Little touch there from Ted Hill, one of the co-captains. Again, this is some pace being shown by a Worcester side that are inside the 22. Referee is up with play. Worcester are going to be in for the score. And it's the scrum half, Willie Hines, who's been the architect of quick ball, quick moves, recycling, supporting the attacking runners, and rolling back the years there. 13 caps, 6 years at Gloucester, and the co-captain has the opening try of the evening, and Worcester are in front by 5 points to 3.
Yes, slick move. I think they probably got a bit lucky in the tackle where I think a Glasgow Warren knocked the ball with this offload here, but reacted well, and some really good support lines, as you say. I think the key was quick ball, and the pace that Lawrence put on that in the second phase really stressed the Glasgow defence, and nice to see. Just good quick ball, simple rugby, nothing crazy, and really well executed two-phase set piece.
And the conversion attempt, Owen Williams close towards the touch line. Fast passage of play as Worcester had chances a little bit earlier on in the half to open up Glasgow, but Hines very much the architect and in the end the finisher as well, supported by a cast of at least half a dozen of his teammates, various stages of that move. All eyes now on Owen Williams.
I think Hines will be happy after his slightly missed opportunity off that scrum a few minutes before. And that's a cracking nudge from Williams to stretch the lead there as well.
Yeah, you'll appreciate the talents there, because that is not a easy kick to execute successfully. And Williams is back inside his own 22, with Worcester extending their advantage 7 points to 3, and we're closing in on the end of the first quarter. There's Hines receiving the pass, just evading the attentions of Stafford McDowell, and then receiving the congratulations of his teammates. He came up in the Groves. Nice restart then, and Hines has it once more. Looking to deliver the box kick. And again, he's took a little bit of height and distance on that. Challenge there. Stafford McDowell trying to win clean ball in the air. And he had a sort of high extended left leg as he reached up the ball. Of course, there's floodlights directly above him now as well, just above that main stand, knocking the ball forward. And from a Worcester point of view, that's the perfect result of the restart from there.
I don't know if anyone heard that on the TV, but George just counting off and counting to 5 after the ref used it. I don't know if that's a law that you can't count to 5, but it's, as we Gog been told off.
So I wonder if the referee Adam Leal regards that as petulance. I don't know, but George is, I would think, within his rights to do that, but it's taken on now by the pace of the left winger there, Harry Dole, up on the angle inside the Glasgow half of the field. Glasgow, though, are able to draw the Worcester penalty, but that was a decent angled run there, and not for the first time we've seen Harry Dole involved. But he was leading from the front on that occasion, and coming from his wing across field at the rate of knots.
Yeah, I think Glasgow were a bit lucky. They didn't. He didn't look inside for the supporting Hines again. He was on the shoulder. But a cracking turnover. Stafford making up for his mistake on the high ball. Cracking turnover to get in there and sniff that out, especially a tall man like that to get low and win the race in there. Cracking turnover. Wouldn't have seen me doing that as a fullback.
You say that, but when you were in that position, you may well have delivered the goods as well. From the line out then, on towards Lewis Bean, and he carries up with Horn just in behind him. Matthews, Richie Gray there, just had to juggle with the ball, but was able to take it in. Now Wilson has it, tries to make some ground beyond the Worcester 10 metre line. Reversed on towards Lambert there, receiving it from Horn. Horn goes in again, has a look. Thompson's in position, taken on this time. Bean goes to deck. Horn in behind, 3 to his left. Little prodded kick there. Thompson ricochets off the legs there of Matt Garvey, and Garvey was certainly doing his utmost to chase and harry this Glasgow defence that are now back, but are under pressure again. The loose head on now. Worcester, suddenly they've got some space into the 22 they go, and they'll land the score. 2 tries in the space of 2 minutes, and it was players like Ollie Lawrence that you had to, from a Glasgow point of view, look at and try and close down and deny space. And Lawrence found space in the 22, and he finished off Worcester's second try, and they're now 12-3 in front.
Yeah, tough one to take for Glasgow in possession. Just a charge down kick and cracking chase from Garvey to snaffle up Sammy Johnson and get the turnover, and a great finish from Lawrence. But in the phases building up, it was Worcester just weren't competing at all, just looked to get numbers on the feet, and then Glasgow looking like nowhere to go, so just try put it down in the corner, and great charge down, and tough one to take, because it's a cheap 5, potentially 7 points to Worcester.
Ethan Waller, again quick ball, and the support as the ball worked its way out towards Ollie Lawrence, and the loose head just continuing the forward momentum there with a pass with 2 players on rushing to his left hand side, and it was the outside centre Lawrence, who played 8 times for Worcester last season, who's finished things off. Of course, they scored more than 50 against Connacht, so they're not shy of scoring tries this pre-season. Worcester, this for a 14-3 lead. Williams off the tee with the conversion. No problems at all.
Yeah, no, he's a great kicker of the ball from hand and off the tee, so he's showing what he can bring to this team. And I think Glasgow in attack just probably need a wee bit more depth and pace onto the ball and challenge them in the wide channels. We're trying to go really direct and hit it with the forwards, but I think we can try and stretch them a wee bit more and pull them to the touchlines, which Glasgow haven't really quite managed to do. The early exchanges when we've got Cole Forbes down away on the left wing here, we've not really managed to get back into those 5 metre channels and really challenge the edge defensive of Worcester.
Hines again looking just to secure possession. And then you get the box kick. Not quite as much distance, but a lot of height. Stafford McDowell again coming in and taking the ball on this occasion, not knocking forward, but again a penalty is conceded. So he's penalised on the floor this time.
It's a tough call. His momentum when he comes through in the high ball, he's always going to have that sort of roll on the floor. He's got to get back to his side somehow. So I think that's a very, very tough penalty after a great take.
Pressure, and taking a ball like that would certainly lift his confidence. That's a very well delivered kick from hand downfield that has Worcester right back inside the Glasgow 22.
Yeah, momentum definitely with Worcester at the minute. Glasgow really needs to do something to shake this up, and a steal here or just a really good defensive set could sort of get a bit of energy back in them and buoy them up, because they need something to sort of kickstart this half and try and get it to half time, snapping back at Worcester's heels.
Throw in towards the middle of the line. Matt Garvey just trying to get clean hands on the ball. Glasgow though, they managed to win that little battle in the set piece. And George Horn now with his box kick. Again in flight, angled, safe beyond the 22. And at least Glasgow exit the 22 for the moment.
Yeah, another great steal at the line out. So Glasgow definitely edging that battle at the moment, so let's see if they can get back up and steal another one, get back down into Worcester's half.
Ethan Waller makes his way across to Scott Baldwin. Worcester assured so far in the set play, but those last two lineouts very much going the way of Glasgow. Wilson now has it. Direct passage of play here. Johnston out towards his outside centre partner, to Pelotu, and up and over that 10 metre line with Horn in behind. On towards Thompson. Glasgow trying to make some ground. Again, some real determination shown by Rory Darge, looking to stake a claim for a regular place in this Glasgow backline. But Hines and Worcester turnover again, and the danger coming from Nanai at fullback, but he can only find hands of Glasgow Warriors, and Warriors are now accelerating into the Worcester 22, and they're down for a try. An excellent breakaway score. Rufus McLean, not for the first time in a Glasgow jersey, has shown a clean pair of heels to a defensive line that have been strung along the halfway line. Is a dangerous customer for opposition defences, and that's another one to add to his tally.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to be throwing an intercept to that man right there. He's one of the quickest guys I've seen in a Glasgow shirt, and another example of that. Just numbers down in defence, and thought they reacted well, and he came up and shut off that space on the offload and got us just rewards. So that is a big relief to Glasgow after the last to and fro in these last few minutes. So hopefully that will settle them down a wee bit, and still plenty of time in this half. They can pick up another 1 or 2 tries, hopefully.
Thompson adding the extras, adding to his earlier penalty that closes the gap somewhat, 14 points to 10. But yeah, Rufus McLean very, very fast, confident under the high ball as well, and he burst onto the scene during the course of last season and has impressed many in his occasional outings as a Glasgow Warrior starting player. Even coming off the bench tends to make an impact almost immediately. That's a good weapon to have in your armoury. Somebody on the wing sharp enough to pick up perhaps a little bit loose passage of play, and certainly making them pay with the maximum 7 points.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no substitute for pace at times, and a lot of people would love to be graced with Rufus's pace. And as I say, he's young. He burst onto the scene last year, and he'll only just get better with time, with more rugby, more understanding of what he needs to do. But having that sort of raw athletic ability is a great starting point.
Start. Thompson's got some time just to deliver this left-footed downfield, and now it comes back towards Nanani, and he's up and just over the halfway line. Ball goes loose again. Cummings was in touch there, was looking just to release the quick ball on towards Thompson. Referee just in consultation with his near side assistant, and it will be just a regulation throw in delivered by Johnny Matthews, as Glasgow will have ball again.
Cop out from Touchy. They've been giving that to Worcester after saying Cole had maybe ripped it out, and fair enough, but he's I think Scotty was quite right and entitled to take a quick cop here.
A glimpse of McCallum on the field of play as well, as it's launched in to the line. Richie Gray again winning the ball in the line at Matthews, again trying to hassle and harry as there's a maul now, controlled, ball tucked under the arm of Scotty Cummings. It works its way back to the half-back partnership. Now Johnston just bypassing now on towards McDowell, out towards McLean. Again, you can see the goose step, trying to accelerate, scrambling up towards the 10-metre line. Recycled again. Thompson, Johnston, long flat pass. Cole Forbes just trying to control the ball with his left boot there, playing a little bit of football. Didn't quite come off. You could see the intention was good, that he tried to spread the ball wide there to try and stretch this Worcester defence.
Well, that was some much better attack from Glasgow. First of all, the acceleration Roof was shown to just get through that half gap and just create that momentum, and then the ability to stretch it wide, as I sort of was hoping they'd look to start doing. Just saw the space on the edge they had. I think there was the hooker Baldwin on the edge there, and if that pass had gone to hand, Worcester were in real trouble. So hopefully that's a bit of a blueprint for what Glasgow can do, and if they back themselves to stretch it, they've certainly got the weapons out wide to take advantage.
Incidentally, Simon Bergen is back on the field of play. He was off just for a little bit of treatment on the sidelines, but he returns. So Glasgow, and as they were at the start of the contest, Cummings again trying to win the ball in the line out. Darge mops up just at the back, still by the edge of the 22. Glasgow look to reorganise. Horn on towards Cummings again, and he's caught just flat on that 22. Horn goes in, ball is available. Once again, Glasgow with some determination try and lead from the front. Horn has it. Darge with a little decoy run there. Outside centre to Pelotu, just coming onto the ball there, just on the angle, but slowed up as he could make just a fraction of ground inside that 22. Glasgow again. Cole Forbes just pointing the way forward. Cummings over the ball, Horn in behind, mopping up, good options taken in by Bergen. Horn once again, Thompson out towards this right hand side. Johnston, excellent defensive cover provided by Worcester, who's just under a little bit of pressure at the moment. Glasgow with that McLean try, they've got a little bit more of a spring in their step as we approach the final 7.5 minutes of this first half. Long pass out towards the right hand side from Johnston, everything in the direction once it gets to a certain distance out wide towards McLean, and looking for McLean to do further damage as Horn goes in once more. Again, Gray provides an outlet, so too does Bean. Bean then goes in as part of the clean out. Glasgow reorganise, mop up once more, still inside the 22.
Stay up if you latch, stay up if you latch.
Skies darkening over Sixways as the referee spots the Glasgow knock on. After a sustained spell of pressure inside that Worcester 22. Glasgow's attacking opportunities come to nothing. Worcester will collectively applaud their defensive efforts, and it remains 14-10 to the home side.
Yeah, good defence by Worcester that time. Kept coming off the line, men on the feet, and kept putting pressure on them. It was just, as mentioned before, last time Glasgow in the 22, it's just sometimes a wee bit one-dimensional, and just we need to keep that tempo high, and if they keep moving the ball around, there's opportunities. There was actually, it was a bit of a tricky pass, or Sam wasn't exactly looking at out, but if he'd got that ball out to Rufus instead of popped it back inside, then again he's in space, and so Rufus is definitely looking at a threat on that right, so the more they can get out to him, I think sort of put them in a good place.
Stewart is one of the replacements on the bench for Glasgow, and I'm sure we'll get to see
Grant and several others during the course of the early stages of the second half, when coaches tend to use these pre-season fixtures really to assess the full squad, which must be difficult when you're looking at in excess of 28-30 players being involved over a period of an 80-minute game, for it to still have some flow and cohesion. Matthews back to his feet, been in the wars a few times in the first half, the Glasgow Warriors hooker. Willie Hines is a try on the board. Will now feed this ball into the Warriors scrum. Referee though immediately awarding the penalty. Hines glanced in the direction of the referee, Adam Leal, and the referee was in no doubt that Warriors were penalised, and Matthews has a wee word with the referee. He orders them away, and Worcester will be able to clear inside their 22, remaining 14-10 to the home side.
Just a bit of an easy get out there. And another great kick from Williams. He's taken every metre he can at the minute with any penalty kicks he's got.
Accurate both from the tee and from hand. It is the weather is favourable certainly for kickers. There's hardly a breath of wind around Sixways, so that's you know yourself as an experienced kicker, that's a dream scenario.
Yeah, and that's pretty rare for here. The last few times I played at Worcester, it was blowing an absolute gale. So they'll make sure they enjoy these conditions when they get them, because I don't know how often it is that they'll relish this.
Play breaks down there, but it was a better line out from Worcester's point of view, and you can see Glasgow Warriors, well, they had one of their backroom staff there, one of their medics, almost inadvertently involved in the action before the referee could call a halt to proceedings, able to dance their way out of trouble there and get to the injured Warriors player on the deck. And we're now 5 minutes after. Have you seen that happen often? Get to see this again.
35 minutes gone. Are they only playing 35-minute halves? Well, that's what the screen's saying anyway, so interesting.
Yeah, the referee has called a halt to proceedings at the end of this first half, and the final player off at half-time is Ryan Wilson, who's in conversation with the referee Adam Leal, just trying to understand his interpretation for a couple of decisions made in the first half. So yes, that indeed is the first half drawn to a close, and we will see some fresh faces and some new names on during the course of this second half. Just to run through three worthy tries to see again. Willie Hines, Ollie Lawrence, both scoring tries for the home side Worcester Warriors. Rufus McLean, breakaway running, classic McLean from halfway, bringing Glasgow right back into the contest. 14-10 at the interval then, and some excellent kicking, particularly from Owen Williams, conversions and from hand, but Thompson, and that is Ross Thompson, has been pretty much equal to it as well.
Yeah, no, it's I think being this close at half time is probably fair. I think both teams have had opportunities that probably want to be a bit more ruthless with. Worcester scoring the pick of the tries with that Hines one, just a proper training ground, two phases, great execution, and then a couple of scrappy ones as well that were well taken. But it's been a pretty interesting half. I think both teams will be frustrated with some aspects of their play. It's been a bit broken at times. I say it might be a bit greasy out there, and they'll only get greasier, I imagine, as the temperature dips. But it'll be interesting whether both teams make wholesale changes at half time, or they wait a little bit and give these guys another sort of 5-10 minutes to put something out on the field.
Yeah, Sam Lewis there, you can see as we watch the Hines try again. He tried to pass it towards the left hand side, it bounced, so he just gathered his own pass, and then it was on eventually to the scrum half for the try. This is the second try in the first half from a Worcester Warriors point of view. Ollie Lawrence, this coming just moments after the first try, and this again well executed. The pass again measured by Waller, worked its way out towards the outside centre, who's Ollie Lawrence, and Lawrence was not going to cough up an opportunity presented to him like that. He still had some work to do, but that was two tries in quick succession as Worcester looked to try and get a real grip on the contest. You see the ball just working its way out there towards the outside centre. Ollie Lawrence, this little sidestep infield. Takes the congratulations first of the opening try scorer there, Willie Hines. And then this little bit of loose play from Worcester, just on halfway. And again, you can see the positioning of Rufus McLean. Gather the ball in from the left arm, and then look at this for quick acceleration just over 10, 15, 20 metres to escape the attentions of the Worcester defence and to line up, you know, an opportunity to go right underneath the post for a try.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing in that try, we obviously know all about his pace, but it was just his defensive positioning. They were actually numbers down, but to read the play that was happening and get into that passing channel and pick it off and have the strength to break the tackle, and then once he was away there was no catching him. So I think that's it's nice to see a bit of evolution in his game and that defensive understanding.
Pass just going astray, and again he put the brakes on because he was almost facing his own post, spun round and off he goes. And that's something that, especially in the sevens game, you like to see players that can really accelerate over a short amount of ground very, very quickly, just to break away from any onrushing defence. Makes the opportunity to score the try that bit easier. 14 points to 10 at the interval, and you're looking at some of these players, McLean and Thompson in particular, young up-and-coming players. I've noticed a difference in their physique even just in the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I know Rufus, before the year he burst onto the scene, he'd been struggling with his groins for a long time. So I think now that he's got that right, he's really had time to develop his body, grow into his body, and he's reaping the rewards for that. And Ross, I think he's just grown in confidence. That last year was a great breakout year for him. He sort of pushed into it, but he took his opportunities, and I don't think he's ever looked back. And he looks like a completely different player from the one I was training with about three years ago. So it's great to see these guys step up, take that pressure on their shoulders, and really develop when the pressure comes on.
Well, a fine first 40 minutes here at Sixways, 4 points separating the sides, and it's the home side Worcester that lead the battle of the Warriors at half time by 14 points to 10. Here's a look at up-and-coming fixtures on Saturday the 2nd of October, 3 p.m. kick-off. Of course, Glasgow have 3 matches. The Lions, they've got Leinster, and they've got the Sharks, all coming up in quick succession in October. And really, from your point of view, from a competitive point of view, you look at those 3 games, they're again mouth-watering contests. They start against Ulster away from home, but those are 3 matches where they'll want a big vocal support behind them.
You turned me off. I don't know whether he's trying to say something, but no, that's a cracking October of rugby. And it's nice to see the Leicester games on a Friday. I know that's been a contentious issue, but the introduction with all the 2 extra South African teams and the quality that they're going to bring, it's really exciting, and it's nice for fans that can make it along to see these new teams and new players, and it brings a new lease of life, I think, to the tournament, and it's that is a really cracking month of rugby at Scotstoun. Yeah,
just to update your diary, these are the 3 fixtures in October, home fixtures for Glasgow. It's now the 2nd of October against the Sharks, the Lions on Saturday the 9th of October, and Leinster come calling on Friday the 22nd of October, a 7:35 kick-off. The 2 Saturday matches are 3 p.m. starts. So just illustrating the quality and excitement in the competition as these sides prepare for their respective leagues. And we mentioned as well about Worcester themselves looking to try and really sustain a lengthy spell in the top flight and really look to finish in the upper echelons of the division each season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at the infrastructure they've got. This is definitely a Premiership club. It's an outstanding stadium, awesome pitch, and they're sort of trying to get that quality and calibre of squad, and the depth of squad, I think, is the biggest thing. I think they've always had a good team, but having those layers underneath to really prop up when there's injuries or guys away, and to be able to be competitive when that happens. So I think they'll definitely be we'll be hoping for a better season this year, and hoping to push up into that top 6.
And of course in the second half we're expecting to see both sides empty the bench. From a Glasgow point of view, well, you look at Rob Harley, the record number of caps on the bench. You look at a player like Tom Gordon, who's looking to build a reputation at Glasgow and building the hard work over the last couple of seasons. The return of Duncan Weir, I'd imagine we'll get more than a glimpse of Weir this evening, who spent 3 seasons right here at Sixways and is a recent recruit as a Glasgow Warriors player, and somebody as well like Nick Grigg will be aware that the centre partnerships are going to be so important during the season, and he's featured quite often in fits and starts, but we'll want to make sure that he's still very much in Danny Wilson's plans.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was talking about depth with Worcester there. I think Glasgow have made some really good additions to their squad, and centre's always been competitive. You look at Stafford playing at fullback, he's very comfortable in that 12 position. And then Nick will be competing for 13 with Tui Pelutu, but also Kyle Staines coming back fit as well. So you look at the talent there, and we're certainly not short. Tom Gordon as well, he was outstanding when he burst onto the scene, and now he's suddenly competing with Darge, who sort of burst onto the scene. So there's some really interesting sort of in-house battles going on that will go throughout the season, but it should hopefully push everyone on to that next level. And the one guy who we in this subs-bench tonight that nobody really knows too much about is Jack Dempsey, the Aussie capped back row. So comes with a good reputation, quite abrasive, got a good edge to him. So looking forward to him getting some game time out there tonight to see what he can potentially bring to this Glasgow squad.
And when we had a look through at those October fixtures, and we touched on the Sharks, Lions and Leinster all coming to Scotstoun, immediately after that, of course, you start thinking with an international head on, and the number of players that are going to be playing international matches all through November, and that will take its toll. That could be quite expensive for clubs like Edinburgh, Glasgow, who have an awful lot of players and have a lot of talent on show internationally. So that this is when the squad becomes so important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think years gone by, and when Glasgow were at their sort of most successful, that was a time of the season that we really targeted. We knew we had a good depth of squad. When these internationals went away, we'd almost set up like a mini league in itself, and we'd be like, right, how many points are we sort of targeting, and where will that leave us in the sort of league standings? And we made a real big point of it. So these guys that were coming to step in, they had real targets and ambitions to make stake that claim and leave a real big impact on the end of the season, and play just as vital a part as those internationals that quite often play in those big sort of final games at the end.
You're watching live coverage of this evening's pre-season friendly between Worcester Warriors and Glasgow Warriors. This is both clubs are certainly hoping will be something of an annual occasion, with Glasgow entertaining Worcester in 12 months' time. Some silverware up for grabs, and the winners this evening will at least have that to add to their trophy haul for 12 months at least, as replacements are out on the field of play just now, just going through final warm-ups. And we'll look at the Worcester side. Well, Chudley is going to be on the bench. We'd imagine Ollie Morris will come on, Perry Humphreys during the course of the second half as well, Niall Annett. Both coaches selecting substantial number of players for the bench, and of course it changes the complexion of their job this evening, because there's so many more players to keep an eye on and just assess the quality and the level and the standard that they are at just now. But you're looking forward to this new club competition for Glasgow. Will take, first of all, the introduction of new teams, not just the introduction of new faces playing for clubs, but there's a freshness about it, and that's one thing that will be interesting to see how it pans out over the course of the season.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully when things settle down a bit with travel and everything, there could be some cracking away trips for the fans if they can make it out to South Africa, because there's some great towns where the franchises play, and it's as I say, it's something new and exciting and different. And sometimes if you get sort of 2-3 weeks away at a time, then you can make it a proper holiday.
And I think as well, that a lot of people look at the league and think, as long as there's a concerted effort from a clutch of teams to really, put pressure on Leinster, who've quite often been the standout side. Munster have run them close on a few occasions, but quite often they've been top dogs, and they themselves will be looking for new tests.
Yeah, definitely. Leinster have just been the standard setters for the last number of years, and everyone will be trying to bring them down a peg, and every team will be gunning for them. And I'm sure the South African teams coming in, they'll want to make a point of it that they deserve to be here and want to put their impression. Their international team's going great guns at the minute, and the club sides will want to replicate that on the sort of world stage.
Yeah, Leinster now at Scotstoun under the lights on the 22nd of October, 7:35. Meantime, it's just approaching 8 o'clock on a Friday evening at Sixways, and we're underway. Start of the second half. Owen Williams launches one forward, and Glasgow just trying to work it up towards the edge of their own 22. George Horn takes his time, is able to measure the box kick forward. Worcester players in position underneath it. Nanai's been dangerous going forward when we've watched him, the Worcester starting fullback. In position and recycled a replacement then for Worcester at scrum half. Morgan Monk's now taking on the scrum half duties from experienced Willie Hines, who opened the scoring with a try midway through the first half. Oh, that's a brilliant run here from Morris. A 2-on-1 situation opening up, and there's Nanai. He's going to be in for a try, is he? Defensive cover not quite enough from a Glasgow point of view. They couldn't slow up the pace there of Milani Nanai, and Nanai's in for try number 3. The perfect start for Worcester in this second half, and it was the quick thinking of the replacement scrum half on towards the fullback, who, coming onto the ball, was accelerating at a rate of knots and would not be stopped. Yeah, well,
talk about making an impact and an impression. You'd probably say Willie Hines is the first choice 9, but what a great start to the half. Come on, in your third touch of the ball or whatever it was, clean line break and an assist for a try, and it's that man who's been a thorn in Glasgow's side, and I getting the finish.
Showing a clinical edge there, and a player who made his debut 2 years ago. I think it was against Bath 2 years ago, looking to establish himself at 5 games, I think it was last season for Worcester. And he'll certainly have cause to remember this game with that excellent try, very well executed. And now a chance for Williams again from the tee. Again, plenty of height on that. Just drifts wide.
Yeah, won't be happy with that.
No.
But yeah, certainly take nothing away from that try. That's an outstanding start by Worcester, and not what Glasgow will have wanted after your sort of half-time debrief and wanting to sort of set your stall out.
I think it was Scott Cummings with the attempted tackle on the scrum half, just couldn't bring him to deck, and he was able to release the fullback in for the try. An unconverted try, but Worcester in possession of the ball again. Underneath it is their number 8. Hatherall doing well from the restart kick out towards the right hand side. Lawrence again just trying to find players to his right to continue this forward momentum. Morrison again just looking to recycle ball as Worcester making some ground between that 10 and the 22. Scrum half in once again with some quick ball. 2 players across on this left hand side. One of the earlier replacements there is Vesic, and he was lifted, then brought back down on his feet, but slowed up just outside his own 22.
he himself made an important contribution immediately coming off the bench with a couple of attacking runs, linking up well with Hines at scrum half. The box kick. Wallace then just angles the kick. Gray was trying to come through just to make things awkward. McDowell's underneath that one, thought about the pass in towards Wilson, accelerated up towards the 10 metre line before going to deck. Horn now back in field. Then it's Lambert just trying to continue the forward momentum down this left hand side, and Tuipulotu is caught just short of the 22. There's a player still down receiving a little bit of treatment. The play continues as Horn again finds Thompson on towards Cummings, forced backwards, Darge up with play, Horn also, Thompson, but the play was getting too close to the injured player, down just receiving a bit of treatment. It is a Warriors player, and it looks as if there'll be further changes. Simon Bergen was injured in the first half, Murray McCallum was on, albeit very briefly, but it looks as if there's going to be a repeat of that really in the start of the second.
Yeah, I think he just took a wee knock to the head, so hopefully nothing too serious, but got to be careful with that. Glasgow looking really sharp there, great response, some really nice attacking rugby, some good link up between the forwards and the backs, and say some actual pace and depth on the back from the back line out wide, and making really good dents. So hopefully that can be a trigger of some pressure here and get one back.
Thayer is also on the field to play. It's another change in the front row for Glasgow. 19 points to 10 is the score line, and Glasgow just rejigging things in the forwards, going to the bench. But solid shift from those in the front row. Bergen with a knock. Tom Lambert really put himself about during the course of that first half.
Yeah, I thought he had an outstanding game, certainly from in the loose point of view. Carried really well, showed some decent hands at times as well, so he can certainly rest up knowing that he's putting a good shift and put a good hand up for the first game of the season.
Three out towards this right hand side for Horn. McDowell also primed and ready. Tuipulotu taking the ball into that 22, running just on the angle, but he's able to offload before he goes into touch. Right down this right hand side, almost in the corner. And Tuipulotu again just recycling back infield as Glasgow 5 metres from the line. Horn on immediately to one of the replacement there, Brad Thayer, just trying to make some ground. Referee allowing play to continue here as Glasgow are peppering this Worcester line. Again, just taking it in turns just to find their way up towards the try line, with Horn in behind, mopping up, looking at the options towards the left hand side. Taken on this time by McCallum. He's slowed up almost by the pads of the post. Horn has a look towards the right hand side, thought about going himself there, and Worcester's number 8 comes flying through with their defensive line, but Glasgow are now over. But the referee has brought it back in it for a penalty for offside. It looked as if you could see Johnny Matthews was trying to seize the opportunity to get over and ground the ball. An offside decision, no score. Glasgow have this chance, surely.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on. That was all a bit crazy. If George Horn had released that to Ross Thompson, I thought there was some really good movement from the backs there and created an overlap. So it was a shame that I didn't actually see what happened at the breakdown, but must have been a knock on, but penalty advantage. So still really good position here and should hopefully come away with a score here.
Horn is going to spread it out towards this left hand side. McLean has it again, the dancing feet of McLean. He gets back to his feet, he goes back down to the deck again. He's one of these players that's very, very difficult to bring down. Glasgow using him with a period of advantage. Back it'll come on the 5.
Again, I mean the privilege of being up in this high suite that we've got, I say suite, shed up top of the stand. They probably went the wrong way again. I think had the overlap on the right, but as I say, still got the pressure on, so hopefully they can be a bit more clinical in this set.
Cummings is right in the thick of it this time as Matthews got the restart going again. Warriors trailing at Glasgow by 19 points to 10. But remember, it's Worcester against Glasgow, so it is the battle of the Warriors. Right underneath the posts, but just shy of crossing that line. Glasgow on the offensive, having conceded a third try right at the start of the second half, courtesy of the Worcester fullback. Glasgow again looking to recycle through. Horn, that just ricocheting of the legs of his teammate there. But again, another opportunity and a yellow card shown, and perhaps no surprise with the number of infringements coming at quick succession. And I think it could well be Kyle Hatherall that's been yellow carded. Just seeing, is it Hatherall? Maybe doing him a disservice.
Baldwin, taking a slow walk at the minute. It just seems every time they create something, they either go the wrong way or something happens. Fortunately, Johnny Matthews got in the way of the pass to Ross there from George, but if they score now and a man in the bin, it could end up being a great result.
Glasgow then, again getting closer towards the line. They continue the drive through, they're over for the score. And Glasgow hit back 19 points to 15 with the conversion to come. And that was a real collective effort there.
Yeah, just great patience in the end and some good forward play. I think had a good few opportunities to score, but thankfully the pressure told and they were getting penalties, and that led to the sin binning. And then now there's a great advantage to get that score back, and with an extra man now, hopefully they can make the next 10 minutes a really fruitful one.
Yeah, that coming just 30 seconds into 10 minutes in the sin bin. Very, very well executed from a Glasgow point of view. 19-15 with the kick to come right in front of the sticks. Owen Williams almost flawless, no problems at all for Thompson, so we're back to a 2-point game.
Some subs for Glasgow now as well. Jamie Dobie and Nick Grigg coming on, and Duncan
Weir is on. Once he makes his way across towards that far side, I'm sure he'll receive the applause of some of the Worcester faithful after 3 years service here.
Yeah, he had a cracking time down here. I think he really endeared himself to the Worcester faithful, and Glasgow have done really well to get him back up, and hopefully, depending on how long he stays, finishes in his hometown, which would be great. Had a great first block in his career at Glasgow, and hopefully he can come back strong now.
Yeah. The applause you hear in the background, a cheer after the announcer has introduced Duncan Weir onto the field of play, so respect shown for his qualities. Recycled in Glasgow with their forward momentum taking them over the line for a second try. A real forwards effort as the box kick is now delivered long and up and over halfway. Lanai underneath it. Ken looking to disrupt there. Across on that far side was Cole Forbes. Worcester have it back, shot of their own 10-metre line. Back it comes towards the fullback Williams. There on that right hand side is Vesic again. Some acceleration shown here. Worcester a 2-on-1 situation. Vesic again just prodding that through. Morris up with play as well. Morris just launching that one forward. And inside the 22 it goes. Worcester again will look just to recycle here. Glasgow themselves have had time to reset their defence and have been able to turn over the ball. Wilson just at walking pace, getting it back to Glasgow hands.
Okay, use it.
Glasgow now looking at options. Long kick downfield. It's not a touch finder though, back in the hands there of Nanai. And he's caught just on the edge of the 22. Recycled once more. Scrum half again, just looking to find positions, and he goes once again. Worcester now just making some ground, forced on the angle as Duncan Weir gets involved for the first time with a good solid challenge. And the huge figure of the second row forward, Matt Garvey, still on the field of play. Recycled again by the scrum half, who's just trying to get involved in the thick of the action. Huddles over Scotty Cummings, who's on the deck. Glasgow now have it back and accelerate outside their own 22, just on the angle. Another box kick opportunity, but it's a pass that's taken on by Wilson there.
This is a tiring phase of play. I think one Glasgow player with some pretty bad cramp by the looks of it. But again, Nanai causing all sorts of bother for the Glasgow defence. Two breaks there leading to some more pressure, and Glasgow scrambled really well, managed to get a couple of good turnovers, but really can't kick loosely to this back three, because Worcester are looking really dangerous when they do get the counter opportunities.
Yeah, Worcester, just looking at the changes they've made, certainly at half-backs, still looking very threatening, and Glasgow themselves looking to change things up a little bit, freshen things up at half-back, and, you know, again ask similar questions of their opposition.
Yeah, hopefully. So it's see there, I think that's Jack Dempsey coming on for his first game in a Glasgow shirt, so be interested to see how that goes. So whether that's Scott Cummins moving back up to the second row, so it looks like Lewis Bean coming off. Still not 100% sure, my eyesight's not the best on who's struggling with the cramp down there, but yeah, I'd say Worcester are looking the livelier team just now, so hopefully these subs that have just come on for Glasgow can really up the impetus a bit and get a bit of a foothold back in this game.
It's just that coming off 4, I think, so.
Still injuries to one of the Glasgow players. More players now coming on off the bench just to freshen things up. You can see down there it looks as if Tom Gordon just on as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Tom Gordon now on as well. Players like Rory Darge this evening, you know, using this opportunity against a well-constructed Worcester side, you know, to do some damage to the opposition, and again just keeping it in the minds of your head coach.
Yeah, he's had another solid game, so I don't know if that's more of a pull calf or whether it was cramp, but he's put another big shift in, carried really well, tackled well, and got the odd turnover, so certainly done his chances no harm tonight.
Another opportunity here from the scrum, and when you've got as well players the likes of Jamie Dobie, you know, who've been in or around the first team squad, looking to use this as an opportunity to show his credentials. Nights like these always shop windows for your head coach. Penalty won this time by Glasgow at the scrum, and it's a chance for them now to make some ground downfield.
Some cracking scrum. Both props changed as well, so that's them sort of putting down their marker. It's great to see, and hopefully put Glasgow in an attacking position after this donkey kick.
Then forward, no problems at all. Of course, he'll know the geography around this ground better than any of the Glasgow players, perhaps with the exception of Lewis Bean. I'm trying to remember how frequently he was in the Worcester starting lineup, the short period of time he was with Worcester. But another player who's Worcester connections for Glasgow this evening.
Duncan.
Again, Richie Gray winning the ball in the line. Duncan Weir getting involved, so too is Johnston. Ball carriers taking it up closer towards the edge of the 22. Dobie again recycling, flat pass, and Glasgow looking just to try and accelerate here through Weir once more. On towards McDowell, supported there by Rufus McLean on this right hand side. Brought back in there towards Johnny Matthews. Tackled, and Roby has it again on towards Johnston. This time there's Tom Gordon just trying to evade the challenges coming in, as Glasgow again looking to try and find a way through this well-marshalled defence, as once again Johnston tries to wrestle his way away from a solid challenge coming in from the cover defence provided by Worcester. And again they recycle towards Gordon. Gordon takes the ball in just at chest height there. Dobie mops up on towards Duncan Weir. Crossfield kick. McLean takes it brilliantly. McLean now, has he got the acceleration and power? He certainly has. Oh, that's a beauty. Little swan dive to finish it off, but that illustrating his qualities. And Duncan Weir just laying it on a plate, but on the angle inside the 22. He still had a lot to do. But just for the second time this evening, Glasgow find themselves in front. And McLean has another fine try to add to his collection.
Yeah, that was an absolute peach. I think saw Rufus just put a little signal up to Dunkey, and Dunkey does what Dunkey does, and he put it on an absolute dime. And Rufus doesn't break stride, manages to bust 2 tackles, and another cracking finish. I think that was probably say that's Glasgow's best try of the night.
Yeah, the way it was worked from, again, a passage of play that involved a lot of creativity but a lot of pace, and just finding that space ultimately to execute the score.
Oh, exactly. There's many phases in there. Tom Gordon making an impact with some cracking carries as well, and then finished off nicely with just pinpoint cross kick. There's always space on the field at times, especially when phase play goes on, so you just got to be creative in how you find it, and Glasgow were then, and were duly rewarded.
Back towards halfway, something for Worcester to think about now, as again both sides empty the bench. You'll see more and more players incidentally with the sort of blanks on the backs of their jerseys, and we don't have any confirmed numbers for any of the replacements this evening, those numbered or those without. I mentioned a little bit earlier on, Morgan Monks, I think he's still to take to the field.
Use it!
One of the forwards.
Carry back in. Stop,
Dobie,
just stop.
box kick,
Stop.
long.
Thank you.
Underneath that is Nanai. Again, he's measured that very well and just continued to go on the front foot. Recycled once again. Worcester up towards halfway, looking at options out towards the right hand side there, a little bit of a congested area. Vezic is taking the ball into that situation, and again going to deck.
Fine, the ball's exposed. I didn't have a problem with you, you're fine.
Worcester, the referee's happy with Worcester continuing to go forward here, but wants them to use it quickly.
Let's go. Stay on
Box
side.
kick should be delivered now before they're penalised. Launch forward, now that is a tantalising one. And Worcester had players in an offside position, so Glasgow will come back towards halfway, and they will have a spring in their step. Really, you know, when you watch a teammate or you're involved in a try as good as McLean's second one to get you back in front in the game, how much of a game changer that can be.
Yeah, that's a huge boost. I think Worcester have looked pretty dangerous when they've had the ball this half, but Glasgow have just since that sin bin in have really turned the screw and changed the momentum, which is great credit to them, and the impact of the subs as well. It's been good to see. That was a cracking kick from Jamie. I think Worcester will be kicking themselves just lazy in the chase and just finding themselves in front of the kicker, and a cheap penalty which now they've got to defend again. So hopefully Glasgow can come away with some more points and really put the pressure on Worcester and force them to chase the game.
Again, secure in the line, Richie Gray. Matthews is getting a real good run out, but suddenly it's spilled, it goes loose, and Glasgow have to scramble defensively as Worcester have pace down that right hand side to Burn, and they've got just short off the 10 metre line. So this is an important phase in the game as we approach the hour mark, and Glasgow will now again look to settle these players that have just come on the field of play. I mean, many of them have made an immediate impact as it is, but try and get on the front, or try and remain on the front foot that they are at the moment, build on the advantage they hold. Then the throw in, well executed. Johnston coming up at the radar knots there. Worcester again looking to secure ball's taken in there, wouldn't release, so a penalty goes the way of Glasgow.
It's pretty lucky. I think Worcester have had two real good turnovers in the last two phases of play, and then Glasgow have managed to get the ball back straight away. Extremely frustrating from the Worcester's point of view, but likewise with Glasgow, two set pieces that they could have put pressure on, and they've coughed it up. Done well to get the ball back, but I think an interesting decision to go for points, whether that's obviously takes them 2 scores up, but getting into the 22 is another chance to practice some things that you're going to put on the pitch once the season starts up.
Richie Gray leaves the field of play, and Rob Harley has come on, as there's a opportunity now for Duncan Weir from the tee, just beyond 40 metres on the angle, in excess of 40, as he just takes his time. As a glance towards the referee, Adam Leal. I think Leal was almost in the way of his run up there, so he was just waiting until Leal was finished the conversation with one of Duncan Weir's teammates. Now the ball on the tee. There's a look up at the posts, down at the ball. Forward he comes. He's given it a decent lick. No problems at all. That's a fine 3 points for Weir. And Glasgow now extend their advantage. They've got a bit more daylight between them and their hosts. 27-19 Glasgow lead.
Yeah, that's a sight these fans will have seen many times over the last few years, but thankfully for Glasgow it's in a different Warriors shirt, so as you say, gives them a bit of daylight, get a clean exit here and put some pressure back on Worcester, because they'll have to start searching for some points quickly.
Worcester then looking to restart with some new faces off the bench. A shorter kick, but again it's going to be challenged. Glasgow a little bit indecisive as to who's going to win it, but it works its way back towards Matthews there. So no damage done from a Glasgow point of view. Dobie goes in again. Rob Harley gets a quick touch of the ball. That wasn't the sharpest of passes out there towards Duncan Weir in terms of its accuracy. And it presents Worcester now with an opportunity right on the edge of the Glasgow 22. And not for the first time, Glasgow have perhaps just let the side down from their point of view from a restart. Been a little bit untidy. Same thing happened in the first half with a Scotty Cummings knock on, and it's an opportunity for Worcester on the edge of the Glasgow 22.
Yeah, something they'll definitely have to have a wee look at. It's obviously trying to show a bit of ambition there, but yeah, shame to get that knock on, and this is as good an attacking position as you'll get as a back line, so see if Worcester can put something out there.
Worcester then ball into the scrum.
Stay on 7.
2-3 opportunities just on this left hand side. Solid tackle comes in. Glasgow then win loose ball. They themselves almost coughing up possession, but they managed to win it again inside the 22. Up and just over the 22. Dangerous chance here for Glasgow. But it's a danger from a Worcester point of view, just averted by Glasgow for the moment. Harley just over the ball. Dobie looking to deliver the box kick. Glasgow again just providing Dobie with the distance that he can line up and deliver that kick from hand up towards and just over the 10 metre line, and it will be a Worcester throw in directly opposite. We're watching the action unfold as we're now into the final 17 minutes of the game, and Glasgow leading by 27 points to 7. Rufus McLean, his 2 tries perhaps from a Glasgow point of view the star turn this evening. It's a flat pass, but again allowing Worcester to come onto the ball at a rate of knots there, protected. Scrum half is able again to recycle. Back it comes again. Worcester now 2-1 situation. Oh, that's a real solid challenge there coming in on number 14, Noah Hayward, and he was dropped to the deck, but he got back to his feet very, very quickly because he was a supporting runner.
Yeah, good set of D from Glasgow there. That first collision off the line out was certainly a solid collision, and then Rufus getting up in 14 on 14. Rufus won that one as well, so showing a defensive edge that goes with his attacking flair, which is nice to see.
Glasgow just taking this opportunity, a little water break to regroup, just reflect on the last 10 minutes or so and the fact that they now have a cushion in the game, more than a converted try separating the sides. 27 points to 19 the scoreline. This will certainly do something to lift the spirits of Glasgow if it is indeed to finish in this manner, to head back north, having felt that perhaps they were not clinical enough in their game against Newcastle. Coming from behind to at least lead at the moment in this game will be encouraging signs there for the Glasgow head coach.
Oh, 100%. Much better performance this week, and it's just, I mean, pre-season there's always going to be rust there, but there's definitely a lot to work on from last week, but they've obviously been putting that on the field during the week, and things are starting to pay fruition. So after this they'll have a good few more sessions to make a few more tweaks, and hopefully they'll hit the ground running come the first game of the season.
Dobie just readies himself to feed the ball into this Glasgow scrum. Glasgow will be happy just to take the time over these set plays. Opportunity now for Glasgow in their own 10. Dobie, and McLean is behind him. And suddenly Glasgow trying to make a little bit of ground. Sharp, shrill whistle. Penalty awarded to the visitors on their own 10 from the scrum. Worcester have to retreat back into their own half. Duncan Weir takes possession of the ball. Another change, and some more forward power comes on for Glasgow Warriors in place of Ryan Wilson. His night is done, and Glasgow again just looking to freshen things up in the second and back rows.
Yeah, their scrums really come on in this, and they're getting some dominance there, which is good to see. They were patient in that one and got the squeeze on, and then an easy 40-50 metres gained, and another really good attacking line-out. So let's hope they can be a bit more clinical with this one, and maybe nick another score, which will be a great reward for what they've been doing in these last sort of 15 minutes.
Grant Stewart then comes across, all one just in the middle of the line. Stewart again just tries to accelerate in. Referee spots the infringement in the line.
He's gone straight behind the ball carrier. I'll talk to you in a minute.
He'll be somewhat frustrated by that. Old Harley's taken on the captain's role there. The referee is going to have a word with him in a minute. We heard him say in the background. Harley now in conversation with Scott Cummings over perhaps the miscommunication within the line out there. That doesn't find touch, it finds Rufus McLean. Now, suddenly Glasgow are able to accelerate up towards that 10-metre line. That's fine running just on the angle. Dobie in behind as Glasgow remain on the front foot at the moment. Again, solid challenge comes in there. You can see Duncan Weir just trying to organise things both vocally and visually with outstretched left arm. Dobie once more. Cummings again, he's put in a real shift as we approach the 67th minute of the game. Dobie again looking to try and deliver the box kick. Harley goes in just to try and support as part of the clear out, but Glasgow have knocked the ball forward, and Worcester now have a set piece back in the Glasgow half. This sets things up for a very exciting closing 13 or so minutes in this game, Rory.
Yeah, it certainly does, and a couple more subs have snuck on without knowing. Ollie Smith on at the back as well, exciting young fullback, showing a good clean pair of heels there and looking sharp on the counter. It's a shame it didn't really come to anything in the end, but yeah, Glasgow just need to be a little bit careful here. They've given away a few really cheap sort of whether penalties or turnovers within one phase when they're in attacking positions, which is a real frustrator because they've really had the momentum in this half, or certainly the latter half, and it's they really should have come away with a few more points, I reckon.
Worcester scrum picked up just at the base again. Once more acceleration here. We're just trying to come in off that right wing to continue going forward as Worcester again look to try and find some chinks in the Glasgow defence. And they've scored 3 excellent tries. Lawrence, Heinz and Nanai with scores. Nanai's coming early in the second half, but the last 10-15 minutes have really been bossed by Glasgow, who now find themselves in front by a margin of 8 points. We're closing in on the final 12 minutes of the game. Penalty then to Worcester, but they just settle themselves and take some time before going. We're just in front of the referee anyway, and Glasgow penalised for not rolling away. So they'll aim this one down towards the corner, and it's an opportunity from the set piece to again ask some questions of this Glasgow defence. And it's a test of the Glasgow mindset, because although it's a pre-season friendly, it will still be an important scalp if they were to see this one out.
Yeah, definitely. It's always big to come down to England and come away with a win. So winning breeds confidence, and that's what they want. So if Worcester come away with some points here, it's certainly going to make for an interesting last 10 minutes. Let's see if we get a full 40 minutes this half. But certainly this defensive set's a real important one for them.
Kyle Hatherall looks quite an exhausted figure and working his way around there, trying to help with Sam Lewis on his feet. As the Worcester players, those that have been on right from the start, look to continue to make an impact in this game. The replacements there for Worcester Warriors down receiving just a little bit of treatment at the moment. It's another stoppage in play, but one thing I will say is that there's always a
a concern from a spectator's point of view that when you've got such a big squad of players and you're expecting the coaches to revolve things and keep things moving, you know, in terms of new fresh legs coming off the bench after an hour or so. This game, that has happened, but the momentum has been there, and the game has remained very interesting. Those that have come off the bench have always got involved in a positive way.
Yeah, certainly. I think there's a lot of really good internal battles having to go on, and you see guys like Tom Gordon having to come on and really make an impact. We've got Jack Dempsey coming in for his first game as well, and it makes for a really interesting sort of visual for the supporters, because you can almost see it. You can see guys having to raise their game and make a statement. As I say, there's been some frustrations with little incidents, whether it be little knock-ons or silly penalties when they've had opportunities for set piece to build some phase play. But on the whole, the subs have made really good impacts and been positive when they've come on. And you've got the likes of young Jamie Dolby, who is into his third season now, and he'll really want to make his mark. But he's up against two cracking scrum halves with George and Ali still to come back from the Lions. So it's like there's so many good battles that will go on all the way through the season, and it's just there's always one or two that really seem to stake a claim and sort of jump up that the sort of ladder when it comes to the selection.
Yeah, the cohesion and the fluency is, for the most part, anyway, remained during the second half, and the replacements have come thick and fast. Actually, just having a word there with Rob Harley. Harley just passing on the words of wisdom from the referee and his observations to those that will be in the second and the back row of this scrimmage. Another set play inside the Glasgow 22. Dobie will feed the ball into the scrum. Glasgow will see clocks either end of the ground showing we're just past 8:30 on a Friday evening, and Glasgow have an 8-point advantage. Greg again accelerating once more up towards Tom Gordon. Oh, huge collision coming in there, and Tom Gordon from the fullback Nanai. So brilliant tackle there, and I think it's Gordon that's still flat out there. That was a coming together of two huge men going at a full rate of knots there. And Glasgow, not surprisingly, the referee over the injured player, brings play to a halt very quickly. But that was a mighty collision, really.
That really was. And seeing that in live speed, that was a proper hit. Hopefully, when we do see replays, there's nothing illegal about it. It certainly didn't look like it when it was live. It was just a big collision with two big men. It was a shame. It was great support from Tom to get with Nick Grigg, who made a great break, sort of trademark Nick Grigg run, and unfortunately just Glasgow spilt the ball. But hopefully Tom's all right, because he was having a good impact when he came on, and just like there, he had a good run. But that was a proper collision.
I can't remember him having such a turn of speed.
Oh, he is. He's a pro.
Over such a distance. That did impress me. Just how quick he is.
Yeah, he's a proper power athlete, and he's got a real good turn of pace, and those sort of things sort of make me quite happy at my decision to retire, because when you get left for dead by back rows or seeing collisions like that, you're sort of quite happy to be up here in the box.
Grigg also in the wars, up on his feet. Gordon, you get to see this again. Tom Gordon, look at this, right into the midriff there, and then Grigg picks up again. Another solid challenge. It was of the two players, it was Grigg that stayed down on the deck. You see Gordon is back to his feet at this stage, and Nick Grigg just I think holding the chest and the ribs, but he's back up. But both players very quick off the ground there, moving across ground.
Yeah, he must have just fell awkwardly. It was actually Nanai. He must have been feeling it after his first hit. Went after Nick as well.
They've recycled here, Worcester, and again shown some danger. Once more, Nanai up with support on that left hand side. Worcester go in, recycle again. The fullback up with play as it's recycled.
Again, second row forwards just coming into that loose ball. Glasgow trying to reorganise their defence. Taken on this time, well, the decoy runner there was Ted Hill, back towards Nanai. Nanai is able to offload, and Worcester again just regroup, reorganise in and around that 10-metre line. Clock ticking down inside the final 10 minutes of this contest here. And at Sixways, it's been a thoroughly entertaining game thus far. 19 points to 27. Glasgow, the visiting side, leading by a margin of 8. Solid challenges coming in as Glasgow again looking to try and rip the ball. Some turnover required here to get them back on the front foot. But Worcester have it again. Many of these faces will be familiar to Duncan Weir, who's been trying to orchestrate and organise from a Glasgow point of view since coming off the bench. Spread again, and again solid challenges coming in as Grigg is the latest player just to slow up this Worcester attack, which takes them up towards the 10-metre line. They recycle once more, but Weir's right in the thick of it again, just trying to interrupt the forward momentum. Nanai couldn't take the ball from his scrum half there as he was just caught on that right shoulder. Glasgow winning the penalty. Worcester penalised directly below us, much to the delight of Rob Harley, who helps Duncan Weir back to his feet. And Worcester not rolling away, so Glasgow will take every opportunity now to take a deep breath and make some distance downfield, with the scoreline remaining Worcester 19, Glasgow 27.
For a pre-season game and 70 odd minutes into it, certainly guys are really throwing everything at it and really obviously wanting to stake that claim, because the physicality has almost gone up a level in the last few minutes. I don't know whether the Glasgow boys have been buoyed from that Nanai hit on Gordon, but the levels have just gone up a notch, and so the physicality is seriously impressive.
Throw in directly below us. Grant Stewart throwing the ball in. His last line out. He was crossing, and Glasgow were penalised. You can see he's got the ball tucked under that right arm now. He's trying to straighten up here and peel away. Dovey's just in behind. Stewart is eventually swallowed up by solid Worcester defence. Dovey and Harley now just protecting possession of the ball. Back it comes, just fire, dropping that right shoulder on the 10. Dovey will find Weir on this time. Johnston just goes to deck. Dovey in behind him. Johnston back to his feet. He's another player that's started the game, and we will see it through to its conclusion now. Glasgow though conceding the penalty just inside Worcester territory, 15 metres in from touch, as you see from the pictures. 7 minutes to go, 8 points between the sides, and time you feel is not necessarily against Worcester, but they've not an awful lot of time to play with now, because they need the 2 scores, they need 1 very soon.
Yeah, definitely, and I sort of thought Searle would have gone for a bit more on that kick, really sort of got back down into deep territory, but yeah, Worcester really needs to score in the next few minutes.
A little bit more than that, mate. I've got 4.5. That's fine. I
just having a little look down towards the left-hand side.
Guys, just stay back.
There's some real deliberation here over this Worcester throw-in. There's a chance to try and stretch Glasgow. They need a converted try and then something else to turn the game around and win it in the closing stages. Well, they've won a penalty, another Glasgow infringement at the line out, this time at a Worcester throw-in. Worcester again looking to aim towards the corner, because they're still in search of this converted try.
It wasn't much, lads, but it was just enough to destabilise it.
So Glasgow, the referee, interesting there to hear him say that there wasn't an awful lot in that, in his opinion, but enough to destabilise the liner. And in that time, Worcester have decided they're going to go for a pop at the post here, just to try and reduce it to 5, so that would level things up with an unconverted try.
Yeah, so obviously I think I heard the ref saying about 4 minutes to go, so
3.5 now.
Or 3.5, I just said. So if he gets this, then they've still got a few more minutes to get back down and go for that converted try, I guess. So certainly something you'd see in a normal league game, because that would certainly bring you into the bonus point territory anyway, and then you've got that chance to win the game. And a great shot from Billy Searle as well.
Another 3 points then for Worcester. Searle make no mistake, and Worcester now are back to within 5, 22 points to 27, a penalty goal for Searle, and Worcester 5 points behind with 3 minutes on the clock. Can they rescue this game? Can Glasgow hold out for an important win, bit of silverware to take back up the M5, M6, whichever route they choose to head back to Glasgow? I'd imagine it'll be that will take them back to this Carlisle. Underneath the restart kick this time, Ted Hill, and recycled as Worcester again on the go in search of a converted try to win the game. Glasgow will defend for their lives and try and seize any opportunity just to add some icing on the cake. A thoroughly entertaining pre-season friendly is drawing to a close here at Sixways, and Worcester trailing by 22 points to 27, but using woods to good effect. Glasgow again, that nice stretched defence there, but it was stretched with some intelligence because they had pace out wide to slow up any Worcester attack.
Yeah, that was a great defence on the edge there. It was a cracking pass. I'm not sure who threw it, but great pass, and if they could have potentially got that offload away, then it could have been interesting. But great cover tackle, and now if Glasgow can look after this ball for a minute and a half or so, then it will be a great day at the office for them, and they can head back north with a lot of confidence going into the season.
Yeah, going into the game against Ulster away from home, and then those 3 mouth-watering home matches that we've discussed at half-time during the course of October. The Sharks, the Lions, and that Leinster game, Friday evening match, 7:35 kick-off, October 22nd, recycled then Dobie on towards Johnston. Johnston again had a glance towards the left-hand side, Dobie in just behind once again. Harley takes the ball on. Big tackle coming in as Worcester again just aware of the situation with Glasgow in possession of the ball. This just denies Worcester any oxygen here as they're trying to get forward in search of a try themselves. Johnston now, 2-1 situation opening up. McLean was ready, primed and willing to go for his hat-trick, but he has it now. McLean then cuts back in field, deceptive in his strength, but very visible just how quick he is. And Glasgow again, just as Rory was saying, just trying to play down the clock. Final 30 seconds by the clock we have on the screen there. Grant Stewart is tackled, but he's able to keep possession of the ball. Glasgow looking to protect now. Clock getting ever closer towards full time here at Sixways. It's been a thoroughly entertaining match between these sides. This the first of many, we hope and we imagine, during the course of future pre-seasons, with Worcester up in Glasgow in a year's time for the reverse fixture. Glasgow now, well, they know time is up. They give the ball to Duncan Weir, and perhaps it's fitting that Duncan Weir has the last say in this contest, belting it into the main stand. And the Glasgow supporters that have made their way down applaud. So do the Worcester faithful as well. Really a thoroughly entertaining 80 minutes of rugby, and it's Glasgow who come out on top. And we perhaps felt at the start of the second half they had somewhat to do when they conceded so early in the second period, but they've come up with the goods.
Yeah, definitely. I think they impressive the way they found a way to win. So that key period when they got one of the Worcester boys sin-binned and they scored a couple of tries. It was a real shame right at the end there if Sammy had put Rufus away for potentially a hat-trick. It would have been a cracking way to end the game. But another cracking hit by Nanai to snuff that out. But I think Glasgow will certainly be happy heading up the road with a win under the belt and a real good workout, because that was certainly that second half, that was a proper match. I'd say that was more reminiscent of a proper league game than a pre-season game with the physicality going in.
In the last 7-8 days, have you seen an awful lot more from this Glasgow performance than perhaps the Newcastle performance, just as a consequence of them having another 80 minutes together?
Yeah, definitely, and it'll always take time. I mean, new attack coach as well coming in will take a bit of time to put his blueprint on things. There'll always be subtle changes. The Glasgow ways to have a crack and really take teams on and outsmart teams. So, but they'll want to put his own print on the game, and that will take time to settle. But much more positive, I think. The way they played, the continuity, the clinicalness, scored some tries, and some really good defence to boot as well. They snuffed out any Worcester sort of opportunities when they were trying to put pressure on them towards the end, so that was great to see.
The Worcester started very much on the front foot at the start of this second period. They made a change at scrum half,
And again, it was Nanai who, right at the very start of the game, tried to stamp his authority on proceedings. Well, he, at the start of the second half, landed a third score here for Worcester. Again, a great turn of pace to break away from Scotty Cummings. The tap tackle not quite slowing up the Worcester's replacement scrum half, and in goes Nanai for the third try. Now remember, Lawrence and Hines had scored tries in the first half for Worcester. And this, an illustration of, well, we've seen later in the half what Nanai can do defensively. He was good under the high ball, but he's showing Stafford McDowell a clean pair of heels there in for the try.
Yeah, no, that was a great score. Great little break by the 9, and then Nanai, who's outstanding all game, really deserved a score. So on the shoulder, as every sort of good back supporting play is coached.
And Glasgow, well, they hit back. Just this an illustration of their forward power. Just a pick and go from less than 5 metres out, in for a try, and that securing another 7 points for the Warriors. A crossfield kick, this was the pick of the bunch. Duncan Weir on towards Rufus McLean, wrestling his way out of the grasp of the Worcester Warriors defence. Little swan dive to finish off. But how about this?
It's great.
Service.
It was great to see. Those little kick passes can be so effective, and if you can put it in a place where the receiver doesn't have to break stride, it makes it really hard for the defence. And saw a bit of confusion. I think the winger will be a bit upset he missed it, but a bit of confusion. Him and Nanai got in the way of each other, and Rufus the beneficiary, and he deserved that. He played really well. It was always a threat with ball in hand, and it was a shame he didn't get an opportunity to have a crack at that hat trick right at the end there.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, there is the scoreline incidentally. Worcester Warriors 22, Glasgow Warriors 27. Extra points being added by the boot of Owen Williams and also Duncan Weir, but of course Ross Thompson was the first point scorer of the evening with an early penalty to give Glasgow an early advantage. Rufus McLean with 2 tries, then the pushover try that from close range that we got to see as well, plus the Nanai try. Willie Hines and Ollie Lawrence also scoring tries in the first half. There is our first glimpse of the trophy that these sides have been playing for this evening, the Battle of the Warriors, and it's in the hands of the Glasgow skipper Ryan Wilson, and he'll be delighted just to take that back to Scotstoun for the next year at least. They'll go into the huddle, but a little bit of silverware and a little rivalry perhaps being created over the course of the last 80 minutes as the Glasgow players enjoy the moment. You'll see pictures of them with the trophy in some of your papers, I'm sure, tomorrow morning as Glasgow celebrate a win here at Sixways. But I think both sides, Rory, will take quite a lot from this game as they approach the start of their respective league seasons. Yeah, no, it was a cracking hit out. Both teams played well, dominated patches, and it was tight all the way throughout, and it was always going to just be who could just be a little bit more clinical. And I think that Simbinin, when they were reduced to 14 men, was probably the sort of real key turning point in that second half, and Glasgow capitalised. And I thought, especially in Glasgow's point of view, I thought some individual performances were absolutely outstanding. You saw obviously Rufus scored a couple of tries, but Rory Darge again, Tom Lambert really good. Johnny Matthews, I thought, put his hand up at hooker. Obviously you got George and Fraser to compete with, but just shows that depth that I mentioned during the game. And I think these guys can really take some confidence leading into the first game of the season, and just really excited to see how it goes this year. And an opportunity there for Duncan Weir in conversation with all his teammates there. He now knows a good bit more about the club that he's joined and the players that are part of the squad, be it international players or young up and coming talent. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously played a number of games for Glasgow already, but he's come back to a vastly different squad. I know the likes of Richie Gray and Ryan Wilson and Rob Harley, the likes are still there, but on the whole, this is a completely new team for him, and again a new way of playing as well with the coaching setup. So he'll need that time, and he's had 2 good games to get under his belt, and he absolutely loves the club. It's where he's from, and he'll do everything he can. You can always see how competitive it is even when
he was on the floor winning those 50-50s, and that's what he brings, a real competitive edge, a great kicking game, and it means within the ranks of the 10 position, we've got some variation with how we want to play. So Ross is probably maybe a wee bit more attacking, but Dunkey's really good at sort of closing out games, his kicking game, and certainly in the winter that's a very sort of strong asset to have.
And finally on Duncan, coming down here to Sixways to have the 3 seasons that he did have with Worcester helped revitalise him as a player. He was then back in the Scotland setup, the Scotland picture. So that sort of Duncan Weir coming back to Glasgow is surely going to be beneficial to the club as a whole, on and off the field.
Yeah, definitely. Those 3 years playing in a different league, different styles, that can only enhance you as a player, and he can take that experience and knowledge back to the club. And he is now one of the elder statesmen from his time before when he was sort of coming up. He's now in that sort of leadership role as a senior player and in a pivotal position. So he'll be reveling in that. I think he can't wait to get started for real. And I'm excited to see him back in that Glasgow shirt.
Well, Rory, thank you very much for your time this evening. This is a unique commentary setup that we had this evening, perched on top of the East Stand in a sort of wooden shed, but it served us very well indeed, and it's been a thoroughly pleasant 80 minutes weather-wise. It's been a thoroughly entertaining 80 minutes on the pitch as well. 3 tries apiece, 2 Rufus McLean tries. You'd have to say were the pick of the bunch from a Glasgow Warriors point of view. It is the Warriors that leave Sixways with some silverware and a spring in their step after a win this evening on the road, their final pre-season friendly, ending with a win against Worcester Warriors. There is the final score on your screen. Worcester Warriors 22, Glasgow Warriors 27.